One. Hey, what's going on? It's Nathan Resnick with Sourcify. Today we have another awesome episode of Product Sourcing Stories. We've got probably one of the most inspiring entrepreneurs and founders I've ever had on the show, Alex. He was part of our product sourcing school. He now runs Flatbed Footwear, which is a really cool footwear brand. You should check it out, flatbedfootwear.com. Alex, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I want to hear this process because, we had you in product sourcing school. You went through the modules. You now have a full-fledged e-commerce site with your own products where you're selling your own footwear. Like,
Mhm.
break it down for us, like tell me, I guess a lot of people, when they go into a program, they get overwhelmed, they get stuck. Did you ever feel stuck?
No. I mean, at the beginning of the process, when I had the idea, I definitely felt overwhelmed just because, it can be scary to try and find a manufacturer abroad and, you're putting in your own personal money. You want it, you don't want to get scammed. There's just a lot of uncertainty that goes along with the process. So, just joining product sourcing school just definitely helped me get more aligned and just it helped me look out for certain things and
Yeah.
really helped me to find a manufacturer and just kind of organize all the steps I needed to take in
Right.
the process in order to bring the product to life.
Right. And tell us, before we dive in, I want to learn more about, or I want the audience to learn more about, who you are. So maybe just give a quick 30-second background, where you live, what you do, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I live in Minnesota currently, born and raised here. I went to college in Wisconsin, but moved back here. I work in data analytics. And I
So
just
you've
had
done
this.
that, you did this while you had a full-time job.
Yep,
Yep.
still do.
Nice.
It's just a little side project that I started during, the whole coronavirus quarantine situation. Just had a lot of extra time on my hands, and this is an idea I've had since like 2016. I just didn't have any money back then to try and get it started. Fast forward 4 years later, I had some money saved up and would have regretted not trying it. So
Yeah,
here we are.
that's awesome. That's awesome. And so I'm curious, disclose what you are willing to, and keep, don't have to disclose everything, but to get your, brand up and running, how much money did you put in at the end of the day? I assume, some money for production, maybe some money for web development. Like, walk us through, I guess, the costs to get where you're at today, which is, a full-fledged, e-commerce brand that I ordered from. The shoes are shipped
Yeah.
out. I got that notification. I'm pumped to receive them. But,
We
walk us through what kind of cost breakdown you're willing to share.
Yeah. So really, my costs are based on what my manufacturer's minimum order quantity was, and so that was just where like the bulk of my costs came in. So on my first shoe order, I spent around like 17,000 on them, and so then along with that comes getting them from my manufacturer to the
Right.
United States. So I had to tack on an additional like 2,600 for shipping costs. And then really other than that, just I have a Shopify plan and just like using their templates and a lot of their drag and drop
Nice.
functionality. I've just built the website myself.
Oh, that's
Didn't
great.
really require a lot of like back end development work. I have a little bit of programming and coding background, but it really wasn't needed just because um, the Shopify App Store just had a lot of cool free apps that I could install to
Yeah, that's awesome.
help add certain features to my website
Yeah.
that I needed.
Yeah. So when you were doing the production run, I'm curious, did you do a third-party inspection or utilize the factory's inspection, or what would that look like?
Yep, I used Kima,
Yeah, got it.
QIMA. Yeah, so I used them. That was like a $300 cost. They went out for one day after the shoes were produced and just inspected them.
And it was pretty easy to manage and do?
Yeah, it was a super easy process. They did a really good job, and then they just sent over a report when they were done. And yeah, I just gave them kind of a list of things to look out for with the product, and yeah, it passed the inspection, and then they were shipped, I think the next day.
That's amazing. That's cool.
Yeah.
And so did you use a freight forwarder or use the factory's forwarder? How'd you import them?
I just used the factory's forwarder.
Cool.
I was looking at freight forwarding costs and trying to compare them, but they were pretty much the same, and it was just easier to go with the manufacturer's shipping client.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I got a tracking code once they went out, and then I was just kind of tracking. Yeah, I couldn't track it while it was crossing the sea, but once it landed in the U.S., then I was tracking it, and yeah, that was exciting.
That's epic. That's so cool. So did you decide to work with a 3PL, or you're shipping them out yourself right now?
I'm shipping them out myself with the help of my dad.
Awesome. There you go.
Yeah. Yep. He's retired, so he's got some extra time on his hands, and he's been helping me out, which I really appreciate. It's been super helpful, and that's just allowed me to just work, just allowed me to spend the 40 hours that I need to on my current job, and then do this on the side too.
Right, totally. Yeah, so let's talk about too just kind of marketing strategies that you have to grow. I mean, I know you've got social media up. What kind of is the strategy behind growth when it comes to marketing and social media and all of that? I mean, do you have a strategy in place right now?
Yeah, so I'm kind of working through that. Yeah, I mean, I got the word out to all my friends locally. So ideally, I'd try and grow it organically at a local level first, but I also want to layer in some paid social advertising. So I have a Google shopping campaign that I'm going to set up, and then I think I'll just have some sort of funnel approach when it comes to like Facebook and Instagram. So I think I have a kind of like a slideshow video that I created.
Oh, sweet.
That will kind of serve as more of like the awareness, like video view optimized top of the funnel, and then just kind of target people based on their engagement with the video throughout the funnel.
Nice.
But
you should do a collaboration with other brands that target, similar demographics as well. And I'm sure there's some influencers that you can do too. Because I think, you could set aside some number of products to kind of do giveaways with or give out for free to different influencers. Because, I mean, the thing is with e-commerce, when you produce your own product, your margins are strong enough where, you don't have to sell every unit to break even on the amount you put into production. You're going to have strong enough margin where you could probably even sell 30 or 40% of your products and break even on your production costs.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, influencer marketing for sure is something I want to look into. I sent out one pair to like someone I would consider an influencer, but yeah, I've been just kind of DMing certain people, and then also just seeing what the cost is to hire influencers. I know there are some companies that, just have like a pool of influencers that you can hire. But yeah, I don't have much experience with that side of marketing. But yeah, that's a piece I'm trying to figure out, but one that I think is super important in like the, fashion and apparel industry, especially.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, it's it's so interesting just to see how the influencer world is working right now, and so many brands are trying to work with these influencers. But I want to ask, because a lot of people listening in are probably in a similar position. They're working a 9-to-5 job, putting in their 40 hours a week. How much time did you allocate towards going through your production process? I mean, like, how much time did that take on a weekly basis?
I was definitely, the design process was super collaborative. And so when I was working through the design, we were in contact every day.
And that was
And
with the
I mean, with
factory, or that was with?
yeah, that was with the factory, and that I mean, with the time change, like once it got to like 8 o'clock here, I was in contact with my manufacturer, and we would email back and forth or chat on WhatsApp
Mhm.
for I don't know, maybe a couple hours. So I would say probably putting in like 10 hours per week at that
Mhm.
stage, and then kind of dwindled down once the production run was finalized and the inspection was cleared. Then it was just
Yep.
touching base as the products were arriving.
And how many samples did you go through, or was the first sample the one that you were ready to place a purchase order on?
Yeah, I got the I only got one physical sample, and I was pretty much ready to purchase after that. There were just a few
Nice.
minor details that I wanted to tweak, so
Yeah,
we did that, and then I just got picture updates, and
that's
yeah, just
awesome.
approved it via photo.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
amazing to see you go through this whole process in like, a few months. I mean, while working a 9 to 5 job, it's incredible to see. And I think it's going to be super inspiring for other people to hear this story. Is there anything that looking back on the process you would change, anything you would do differently?
I think I would have just started sooner. I mean, I feel like the area that I wasted the most amount of time in was just like trying to get my sketch right. And that was something I kind of learned through, talking with you and through product sourcing school, is that you don't need like a perfect sketch with,
Right.
all your
Yeah,
specs
you
in
should
order
see
to
some of
produce
my
a product.
sketches. They're crap.
Yeah, like I just had a very, very average sketch of a shoe, and then yeah, I worked with my sales rep and their designers, and we were able to just put together yeah, something that became a real life product. Because I mean, yeah,
That's
earlier in 2020, I was just spending a lot of free time just trying to get my sketch right and get all the
yeah.
measurements right, but that just wasn't necessary.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's awesome. This was great, great insight for people tuning in that, are trying to bring their products to life and figure out how to do this while working a 9 to 5 job. Alex, if people want to, get in touch with you and learn more about Flatbed Footwear, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me. You can reach out to support@flatbedfootwear.com. That's probably the best place to contact me. Yeah, I get those notifications right to my phone. But yeah, otherwise just
Awesome.
visit my website, flatbedfootwear.com, and then you can just contact me directly from there too.
Great, great. This was amazing. Thanks again for joining us on Product Sourcing Stories and appreciate your time, Alex.